Hello, wonderful, lovely, beautiful people of the internet. I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm seeing My Policeman today, which I've quite literally been waiting for since it was first announced. Like, truly. I have read the book twice, and I've cried very heavily both times. So this is going to be fun and cute. When I come out of the movie, I'm gonna film my immediate reaction because I know that I'm gonna be upset. Like, it's gonna upset me very deeply, but it's gonna be 100% worth it. I think this story is so unbelievably beautiful. Please ignore me, I'm putting on a pimple patch. Don't look at me. Wow, I'm so glad Starface stuff is yellow because it matches my glasses. These look so goofy though. They look ridiculous, but I love them. Like, I would love to just cover my face in stickers every day. Like Olivia Rodrigo. Why are you looking at me? I'm really excited. It starts in, like, half an hour, so I need to get a move on. But I can't wait. I can't wait. I hope... I was trying to... When I was thinking about what I was going to film for this video, I was trying to think of, like... I was like, I should say what I hope the film... What happens in the film. I want, you know, what I... hope I get out of it. But, like, I can't think of anything right now. I think, because I feel like I've said this stuff already on various other social media platforms, and now I can't think of what I've already said and what I haven't said. But I hope it makes me upset, I hope it makes me uncomfortable, and I hope it makes me happy. All in one. I cannot wait. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna finish this when I'm done, when I'm out of the movie. I'm unbelievably excited. Like I said, I finished reading the book for the second time last night, and I was so upset. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle this movie well, but I will handle it well because I think it's an important story, and I think it's beautiful, and I think it's great. So I'm going to have to suck it up, and it's going to be absolutely A-okay. And I will be upset, but that's okay. For anyone who doesn't know the plot line of My Policeman, I'm simply not going to explain it to you. No one watches my vlogs anyway, so it's fine. Basically, I think the story is fantastic, and I think it's misunderstood by a lot of people. But I feel like I connect a lot to it, and I connect to a lot of the characters. I'm glad that I don't connect to them in certain ways, and I'm glad that we've progressed as a society, that people, in most cases, don't feel this way, but... there are still a lot of places in the world where it's illegal to be gay. So, and, you know, rights are always under attack, unfortunately, because we can't just let people live their lives. Why, I don't know. But I think it's a story that, unfortunately, is probably always going to be timeless. But also, in some cases, is a good reflection of the past and where we cannot go back to. But yeah, there are definitely going to be spoilers in this because, like I said, I'm not going to explain the plot to you, but once the movie's over and I've finished watching it, I'm probably going to spew about it. So that's coming up in the video. So beware. This looks so goofy. But yeah, I'm probably going to spew about certain plot details. So if you don't want a spoiler, this will not be a spoiler-free review. It's not even going to be a review. It's simply going to be my feelings towards it. So... but before I go to see the movie, I think it's well known that, Harry Styles has my entire heart, and it also is well known that, David Dawson is my favorite person. Like, I love him. If I ever saw him on the street, I would, like, start weeping, probably, because he's so wonderful. He's so wonderful, and he's so beautiful. He's great. Emma Corrin, royalty. I love them. Like, oh my god. I know, and the thing is, like, I know that this movie's probably going to hurt a little bit more because I love all of the actors in it as well. I think they're all fantastic and incredibly talented and will give an authentic performance. So I think that's great. That's important, especially for this, is it needs to be authentic, because if it doesn't feel authentic, then I think the story is kind of ruined a little bit. So, but from everything the director and everyone who's worked on the movie has said, it's, you know, it's very authentic, and it comes from a deep place of like understanding the characters and relating to them. So I'm really happy about that and really excited. So that's that. I'm gonna go off to it now. I will be back in approximately 2 seconds with tears in my eyes. Also, I just had an absolute fright because I put the directions into Google Maps and it said, this theater might be closed when you arrive. It opens at 2 p.m. My movie's supposed to start at 1. Those hours better be wrong. If I get there, I swear to God, if I get there and it's closed, I will be so unbelievably upset. Okay, so I'm not fully sobbing yet, which is nice. That's nice. Oh boy, do I have so many thoughts. Spoiler, 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 spoiler. Okay, I have a lot of thoughts. So one, overall, an incredibly beautiful film. It's an incredibly beautiful story. So the film was obviously going to be incredibly beautiful. What I'm going to start off by saying is there were a lot of things that were pretty different from the book, which isn't a bad thing. I just love the book. Like, I love the book, and I think it's perfect. So there were a lot of things that were different, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. My one critique, I would say, is I feel like some of the things were a little bit rushed and maybe weren't explained a little bit. However, that's because you can't fit an entire novel into less than 2 hours. That's so hard. It's a decently thick book, and there's a lot that happens. So I think if they included everything and like all of the details that were maybe character building, which I wish there was a little bit more of, I think that the movie would have been 4 hours long. Which, like, I would be okay with that, but you can't put that in cinemas. So basically, like, oh damn. Oh my God. I feel, my thoughts are, I feel like maybe if you hadn't read the book and you weren't aware of a lot of the little, like, because mind you, I've read the book and I've annotated and I've analyzed. Like, I have Post-it notes on every page. Like, I've in-depth, like, dived into the characters, dissected little details. So I'm, like, really invested. Like, this is extreme. But I think that, like, if you hadn't read the book, you might be a little bit confused. Oh, that's the lady that was sitting next to me. Hello. Shout out to her. This was her wallpaper on her phone. I happened to see it. So, like, we stan. We like you. You are an upstanding citizen, because that is a great picture. But yeah. Damn. It is so powerful. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I want to see it again so that I could get a better look at it, because, like, oh man, when I first sat down in the theater, I could not stop smiling. I've been waiting for this movie for so long. I'm so invested in it, in, like, this story, and I have been on the edge of my seat for, like, yeah, a year. Oh no, she's crying too. Oh damn. Okay. I'm so invested in the story, so I couldn't stop smiling when I sat in the theater, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so happy I'm finally seeing this film. And then at the end I was like, I can't stop my eyes from tearing up. Like, this is, how do I stop that? How do I make it stop? I don't know. I have a feeling I think it's gonna hit me a little bit later. I haven't, like, fully sobbed yet, but my eyes were wet in the theater. It was real good. I have to gather my thoughts. Okay, a couple things. One, spoilers. I am so happy because when I was rereading the book, like, before I watched this movie, I decided I wanted to reread it so it's fresh in my mind. I like said to myself, I was like, I wish Marion had told Tom and, like, confessed to her being the one writing the letter and in turn ruining all of their lives. I wish that she had said that to his face and hadn't left him to, like, read about it. Which I've always wondered too, and maybe this is, I just didn't pick up on this. I always wondered if that's just how Tom found out, because I know that that's how Patrick found out, is by Tom reading this to him. That's how he would find out that Marion is the one that did all of this. But I always wondered, like, did Tom know that it was Marion? So in the movie, she straight up says it to his face, which I'm so happy, because I was like, oh, that's really shitty if she just writes it. And it always, like, makes me angry when I think about that. And I'm like, I just wish she had just said it to his face. So in the movie, she does. And I'm very happy about that. I'm so happy they kept the Julia storyline. Julia is my favorite character. She's my favorite. She's my beloved. Every time she's mentioned in the book, I drew a little heart next to her name. I love her. She's my favorite. So I was a little disappointed because she was in, like, 2 scenes, which, not that she's, like, the hugest, you know, she's that impactful to the story, but I do think she has an important role, but it's not like the plot revolves around her, so, like, it's okay that she wasn't in it that often. But I do wish there had been maybe a few more scenes of her and Marion hanging out and, like, seeing that they were really close, because they were really close. Like, they loved each other, blah, blah, blah. They were very good friends. So I think that it would have been better if then when, like, Marion finds out about Julia and, like, her identity, it would have come as a little bit more of a shock, and it would have been more devastating that Marion turned her back on her. You know what I mean? Because I think in the book that comes across very well. It shows that, like, you know, Julia was like, okay, we're just not as close as we once were, and it's because you just can't accept me. And, like, that's devastating, but that's how Marion handled it. So yeah, I would love to do, like, a book report. Maybe I should just do a video on my thoughts on the book, because I feel like now I'm rehashing the book instead of the movie. But I do wish that Julia had been in it a little more, and it would have been a little bit more heartbreaking when Marion turns away from her. I think that's another note. Overall, though, I think it was phenomenal. I think the scenes that needed to be uncomfortable were uncomfortable, and I think the scenes that needed to be sentimental were sentimental. I think it was done well. I really do. I think I'm really happy with it. Like, I'm no movie critic. I'm not here to be like, my opinion matters and you guys should care what I think. But I'm just saying, I'm happy with it. I don't want to say pleasantly surprised, because I was expecting it to be good, and it was good. So I'm satisfied, is what I'll say. There's, like, a little bit more sex than I was anticipating, but, like, I knew that would happen. I knew that there would be that in it, but there was a little bit more. But it was done well. What can I say? And I think that through those scenes, it really portrayed, like, the difference between who Tom, like, really was attracted to, which is good. That's important for the storyline. And I am also glad that they didn't just make Tom and Patrick's a relationship of, like, lust and attraction. It was like there was real love there. Because I think a lot of times, especially queer relationships, are just sexualized, and they're like, oh, you know, they just want to have sex with men. Oh, ew, those gross queer people, those queer men just want to have sex with men. And it's like, but it's more than just sexual attraction. It's real, actual love. It's love. Like, I can't stress that enough. It is love. And so I think that was done really well. And I think that the ending killed me. It punched me in the heart. Oh my God. No, the ending, like, I don't want to say what happens, but, like, the ending, bro. I have no words. I think, but the ending really tied in that they love each other, and they always have loved each other. Tom and Patrick, that is. That these two men have always loved each other, and it was real and tangible, and that after all this time, that doesn't just go away. And then I also think that it was important that they showed that there was real love between Tom and Marion, and it mentioned many more times than in the book. It mentioned that Patrick and Marion were almost more suited for each other because they actually had common interests, and they actually had a lot of things a lot of similarities in their personalities and in their interests. So I think that the movie almost did a better job of that, or just at least mentioned it more times, that those two had a very close friendship as well, which is important, which is why I hate calling it a love triangle, but it is a love triangle, but it's not all romantic love. I think in that it's important that platonic love is very real. I do hate calling it a love triangle, but it's been described that way so many times, and I guess I can kind of see that, like, not all the sides connect in the way that you would think they would, but I don't know. I love this story. Holy shit. I saw my popcorn because I didn't eat all of it. I need to go call my mom. Oh my god, another thing. Unrelated. Not unrelated, because it's about the movie. I never thought that I would ever say something like this, so brace yourself. When I was rereading the book, I was like, I wonder if Patrick ever told Tom about Michael. Because that feels like an important thing to be like, look, yes, I did have a lover, and then this is what happened to him, and this is like, that's just a side effect of living this life, as Tom put it. In a way, it is absolutely, completely, not in a way, it is absolutely and completely heartbreaking and devastating that anyone should feel, first of all, threatened by people around them, and second of all, feel that there is no hope for them to have a happy life and to be able to live authentically. Nobody should ever have to feel so absolutely hopeless and so scared for their own well-being that they have to end their own life. That is truly the most devastating thing I could possibly think of, and it's so real, and it's so, people talk about it, but they talk about it in a very, like, it's a very taboo thing. But it's very important to remember that a lot of times it's a result of people just simply not having hope that they'll have a good life or that they could live like themselves. So in the movie, spoiler, in the movie, Patrick does tell Tom about Michael, which I was like, okay, good. I like this. I like that he tells him about, like, his life. You know, I appreciate that. And I wanted him to, but I don't know if he does it in the book because it's never said. But, you know, I was like, okay, I'm happy about that. But he says that that Michael died because he was beat up by a gang of thugs, which is realistic, especially for the time. A lot of gay people were literally murdered, and just, like, beaten to death, like, beaten the life right out of them. So that is, I don't want to say, like, historically accurate, but it is, like, fitting for the time. I just really wish, I'm, like, kind of upset that they didn't keep the original storyline, because that's, yes, more heartbreaking, but it's also, it shows more of, like, the reality of the situation, and it shows more how badly other people can affect someone, and how badly the outside world can get into someone else's head and into their, like, spirit, if you will. So in a way, I'm kind of upset that they changed that, but also we don't need more sadness. But I do think that was an aspect of the story that is unfortunately important. I don't know how to put this gracefully, but, like, I wish that they had kept that. But also at the same time, given the characterization, the way that they had character development in this movie, I almost feel like that would have then just, like, scared the shit out of Tom. And he would have been like, oh, what if I let them get to me? But I don't know if that would have happened. This is me just spewing now, going through the thought process, but I don't think that would have happened necessarily. I take back what I said. Okay, I need to call my mom. I'm gonna have more thoughts on this later, because maybe I'll come see this again. Bro, first of all, I love this book, but I hate this book because it makes me angry, and it makes me upset, but it also makes me happy that in many cases, the world is not like this anymore. But then in turn, it makes me upset because the world was once like this, and in some places is still like this. And I just don't understand how this could have ever happened, and how the world could have ever operated like this. It makes no sense to me that it was illegal to love someone. That will never make sense to me, no matter how many times someone tries to rationalize it. It's not rational. It makes no sense, and should have never been the case. And still should not be the case. So, that's my thoughts. Whatever. Peace out, I love you, bye. I'll probably be back. There might be another part of this, but... Okay, so I just got off the phone with my mom, and I did in fact cry. Like, I'm sorry, I was crying. I have another story. The lady that was sitting next to me that had the great wallpaper on her phone. Spoiler alert! I've already said this video is already filled with spoilers, but when Marion was like, it was me that wrote the letters in the museum, the lady next to me went, wow. Like, she was so disappointed. I was like, listen, lady, you're like 45 years old. You are a queen. You are 45 years old and you are scolding this like 60s, or no, she's like 70 at that point. I don't even know how old Marion is at the end of the movie. Or, it's not the end of the movie. It goes back and forth. Now I'm confusing myself. But oh my god, it was so funny, and I like laughed in the theater. Nothing else made me laugh, but she was like, wow. And it was a serious time. It was a very serious moment, and she just was like so disappointed in Marion, which I was like, good, you should be. If you aren't disappointed in her, you are homophobic. But Jesus Christ, I love all of these actors, and I love this whole story so much. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry again. Holy shiitake mushrooms. I'm actually really upset now. Okay, so I said I wasn't that upset before, and that I knew that it was gonna hit me later, and so I called my mom and like immediately started crying. Hi mom, love ya. But like, I can't. Anything that has to do with the history of the world that we live in, that is sometimes so unbelievably cruel and unfair and ridiculous, will immediately upset me so deeply that it's like almost unreasonable. But it's not unreasonable. I'm editing, and I need to be quiet. But another thing I'm upset about is we were deprived of, for policeman, you're very romantic. We got that. But we didn't get the second half of that. We were deprived of, for an artist, you're very afraid. And I'm really not okay with that. This looks crazy. I got a ton of stuffed animals. I feel like I've been robbed. Like I've been cheated. You know? Oh well. Banger movie, and at least we got, for a policeman, that was very romantic. I love that line. Oh man. I'm such a sap. It's really bad. For an artist, you're very afraid. That's how I imagine he would say it. Actually, he'd probably say it more condescending than that, because Tom's kind of an ass. Love him, though.